All right, guys, welcome back. We're in week 9. We are 1 week ahead, 1 week away from finishing the whole course for CodePath for iOS development. So I've hoped that you guys have been learning so far really well. And unfortunately, units 9, 10, 11 are not available. So what we're going to do is, since the admins weren't able to create and finish the content yet for these units, they sent me a list of what you guys need to have, in which I will send it through email. But for this week, essentially, this is what you will be focusing on. I'm going to send you guys this link, and essentially you're going to be building your own schema design. So what do you need here? This document will contain information about what you will be working on, and also guiding you through the steps that you need for in case if you're setting up your own server. Here are the steps that you should do that you should put on your GitHub. If you're setting up APIs, this is how you're going to implement it on your GitHub README so that we know what you're working on, what technologies you're implementing on your project. And here are other ideas that you might want to add into for your GitHub. And the last part is this is your actual homework for this week. You're just going to have to go through this group milestone. So basically you're going to do a sprint. If you guys know Agile method, we do sprints. What do you do there? You basically, from the user stories that you created, you're going to say, okay, this week we're going to finish these user stories. And if throughout the week you're going to list out what you guys were able to do, and if you accomplished implementing that feature, let's say that you're submitting a user authentication. Okay, this memo is going to do user authentication for Friday, like have it done by Friday. Then you're going to have to put that in your GitHub. Basically, I want you to track your progress. Everything that you've been doing and implementing, track it, make sure who's doing what, so that you guys can keep your project organized and very clean when it comes to having the engineers and professional engineers look at it. Because when they look at it and they see something that's not really good looking, it's out. So this is all you have to do for this week. I will send out the rest of the homework through an email because we do not have the rest of the units completed. So because we're fast-paced, so we're going super fast. But that doesn't mean we're going to have crappy projects. I'm doing as best as possible for you guys to have enough organization and time so that you guys can complete a nice project. And also keep in mind that this project, even though you have to have something presentable by next week, it doesn't mean that it's over, right? You guys can continue working on it, publish it online, up on the App Store, and keep making improvements. That's what I did when I finished my course. When I finished my course for iOS, I kept going, and I made another app, and I deployed that second app during fall quarter of last year. So my point is, even though we're going to finish the course, guys, don't stop. Don't stop coding. Don't stop making apps. This is like a skill that you can implement whenever and wherever you are, as long as you have a Mac. So let's take attendance for today also, before we get started. So the class code for today is schema. That is going to be your, this is the class code for today for attendance. So, and the link, I send it through email. If not, it's bit.ly/codepath unit 9. This is the link for today's attendance. Make sure you put down and mark down your own attendance if you guys haven't done that. Question?
What do you put for what group are you in?
For which group are you in? Which part?
For attendance, CodePath unit.
Oh, the name of the project. If you don't have a name yet, you should just list out the names of the people who are in your project, if you don't have a name yet. But if you don't have a name for your project, just put the names of the people in your project, okay?
Okay.
Yeah. I also have some very great announcements to make. You know how I've told you since the beginning of the class that even though you're not getting any credit for it, this is a career investment that you're making on your own. from your own will. And fortunately, one of our students from my Tuesday class just got an internship for iOS development. And you guys want to know what they asked him on the interview? They asked him on table views. Hella easy money, right? Because they literally asked him how to do flicks over again. They gave him an API and they're like, hey, during the interview they asked him, here's an API, it gets data about food, do something with it and display it on the table view. So he did it, and on the way they asked him like, oh, what does this do? Or, oh, why are you doing that exclamation mark? Oh, why are you creating a cell? What does that do? Simple stuff like that. In the end, he got the internship. The company is Omada Health. If you guys want to know what they do, it's pretty chill. They're in San Francisco. So, and it looks pretty legit. So they even have an app and everything. I don't know exactly what they do, but I think it's like a sort of like a health insurance company, but they do personalized health insurances through their app, which is pretty nice. So this is where one of our students got an internship, and obviously this is his first time learning iOS, and he got an internship right off the bat. From just 2 weeks of learning iOS, he got an internship. That's pretty cool. And remember I told you about the benefits for scholarships that we are getting? I actually just got one. So if you guys are looking for scholarships or internships, I want to remind you to keep working hard, because I'm telling you, these opportunities, they actually do exist. And one of the students just received one, as well as I have. I just received a scholarship. So if you guys want to know more details, I can tell you about it afterwards. It's pretty cool. And they don't also just give them to TPMs, but they also give them to students. So you guys also are considered for scholarships. And there will be more later on during the future. All right, so enough about major achievements. Let's try to learn some iOS today. So I sent you guys a Mario Kit starter. And you guys will be working on developing this app today. We're going to be working with animations. So our app is pretty simple. All we do is we're gonna show you guys how to move around images. Like, oh, if you click on it, it'll be able to move it around. You'll also be able to resize when you pinch it, right? And you should also be able to rotate, but it's kind of hard doing it on the computer. But on your phone, you should be able to rotate it. And you should also be able to make it move once you click on it, like that. And we're going to also implement the reset button. In other words, it's going to reset the animations once we long click on the background. Bam. And it should reset the images that we have placed before. Cool. Now that we know what we're going to work on, let's go ahead and start developing it. So open up your Mario Kart starter project. Well, that'll take a while. There we go. All right, so was everyone able to open up the project successfully? No errors? All right, let's get a head start with this. So let's start off by adding some of the layout to our application. Let's go ahead and open up some of the, let's add the background image for our app. So if you can open up the object library, go ahead and search up an UI image. Go ahead and drag and drop into your storyboard. And in here, let's add some constraints so that it fills up the whole screen. So I'm going to add the constraints to be 0, 0, 0, 0 for all sides, because we want it to fill up the whole entire screen. There we go. And now if you go into the attributes inspector, right here on the top right, the one that looks like a pencil icon, you'll notice that it says image. This is where you select the image that you want. In this case, you'll find the one that says background. Go ahead and click on that one. There you go. And now we have the little background, the Mario Kart little cool looking theme background. Now using this background, now we gotta add some characters, some carts. So Same thing that we did with the background, we're going to add image views. Let's go ahead and add one right here. And same thing as you did with the background, go ahead into the attributes inspector, select the image, and select cart number 0. Here it is. Perfect. And now you'll notice that it's kind of warped, or like not the size that we want, right? It doesn't look cool like this. So go ahead and change the content mode and change it to aspect fit. This way what it's going to do is it's going to make the image look better. There you go. So now we have the actual size of the image that we got. So that way it'll look normal every time that we resize it. This is going to be the same size every time. And you can go ahead and, oh shoot, you can resize it like this. And now let's go ahead and copy and paste it so that we can copy the attributes into the new carts that we're going to have. So I created another one right here and another guy over here. And simply just go ahead and change the actual image that it's going to be shown here for the carts. So for cart 0, now you're just going to change this one to cart 1, and let's change this one to cart 2. There we go. Now we got something prettier. Cool. So now if we were to launch our application, what would happen? Well, essentially nothing. It's just going to show this, but you can't really do anything to it. So now let's do some of the fun stuff. So let's start by adding let's add the functionality to be able to move these icons with your own fingertips. In order to do that, go ahead into your objects library, pull out the pan gesture recognizer. The pan gesture recognizer is basically when you tap on an object and you move it around the screen. So go ahead and add that, drag and drop it to the image, to one of the carts. In this case, I'm going to add it to Bowser. There you go. And do the same for Mario, right here. And the same for the, what are these guys called? Shrooms? No, that's a drug. What? Toad. Yeah. My bad. Alright. So now, sorry. Let's go ahead and open up our view controller. Whoops. Here we are. And here we're going to drag and drop something special. So you know how we drag and drop like an image or a background or a label? This time we're going to drag and drop something that we can't really see. In this case, it's going to be the pan gesture recognizer right here. So click on the pan gesture recognizer, drag and drop it into your view controller class, and call it did pan cart view. On the type, make sure you change this. So don't click connect yet. Make sure you switch the type to UI pan gesture recognizer. All right. Make sure you have that set up right here. If you don't have that, it's not going to work, and it's going to give you a bunch of errors. So make sure you have this, the UI pan gesture recognizer. Click connect. I'm going to zoom in a little bit so you guys can see. There you go. Alright, and then you're going to do the same thing for all the other ones. But don't drag and drop it to a new function. Drag and drop it to the existing function, the one that we already created. That way, they will all be connected to the same function. And same with the third one. Drag and drop to this same function. There you go. That way you don't have to create multiple functions that do exactly the same thing. It's one function that does the same thing for multiple items, right? That's how you want it to work. That's more efficient code. Alright, now let's go to our view controller and add some coding to our did pan cart view. So all we want to do in this function is we want to move the cart selected, selected. So how do we do that? Well, first we need to get the location of the cart. So let's create the location variable for it. In this case, it's going to be sender.location in view. And this is going to be the location of where pan is being touched. Alright, now we need to access the specific character that we're moving around. So we're going to create a variable, access the cart that is touched. Let's go ahead and create the variable for that. The cart view is going to be equal to the sender.view. Alright, so this is how you access the cart. Sender basically is the sender response. It's a function, the method that responds when you tap on your phone. So whenever you see something that says like sender, it means that when the UI pan gesture recognizer, when you're moving something, that's the sender, right? We're using the pan gesture recognizer as our sender. So we're getting the location of where I'm touching, and then I'm also getting the cart view, which is a UI image view. I'm getting it, and I am also, now that we have the cart view in the location where we want to move, now we have to tell cart view where to move based on the location of our finger. So now we just tell cart view dot center equal to the location. And this method will change the location of cart view. Pretty simple. So the image view has attributes which has a center X and center Y. So the cart is going to move this cart right here. The center of this object, this image, is going to move according to where my center is located. Same as how I'm doing right here. Let's try and run that. There we go. We got our little characters going on here. Let's go ahead and move them around. Oh yeah, I forgot one thing. Make sure you enable the user interaction enabled. Alright, for each image, even the background as well, make sure that you click on the images and the characters and you click on the option user interaction enabled. I was struggling for like 30 minutes figuring out why it wasn't working, but Stack Overflow is life-changing, man. Just make sure you have that enabled, user interaction labeled, okay? And also for the background. There you go. That way we can actually move around the stuff. Let's run it again this time. All right, there we go. Look at that. They move around. Pretty cool. Obviously, it doesn't. You can't really see the. It's very laggy, but if you do it on your phone, it's more smooth. But you can see that they move, which that's what matters. All right. Now let's add the second part of it. Now we're able to move them. So now let's do something else with the images. Instead of moving them, how about if we can enlarge them or like make them resize the image? Well, we're going to repeat this process, but instead of adding a pan gesture recognizer, now we're going to switch to a pinch, which in other words, pinch is when you zoom in or zoom out. And the typical example is in the map. When you zoom in, you use your 2 fingers to pinch it towards outside, and that way it'll zoom in on the map. So same thing, you're going to add a pinch gesture recognizer, and go ahead and add that into each of the characters. The same thing we did with the pan. So I got Bowser, I got Mario, and now I'll get my homeboy Toad. There we go. And same thing, you're gonna create a function that detects when the user has pinched an object. In this case, our characters. Go ahead and add one of the pinch gesture recognizers. Add it, and this time we're gonna call it did pinch cart view. Same thing with the type. Make sure that you set that to a pinch gesture recognizer. It already has it set up for us. And then go ahead and connect it. There we go. Now let's add the logic to it. So what we want to do is, when we pinch on an object, we want to able to make this image bigger. We want to increase the size of it. So in other words, we're going to modify the scale of the object. So let's go ahead and add that functionality. So this is how it's going to look. So first we need to access the scale of our objects, right? So let's create a variable for scale and make that equal to sender.scale. And same thing, so we access the scale. Now we need to access the cart view. Let cart view equal sender.view. And now we need to modify the size of it. Luckily, iOS is so simple, you can do it in one method. It's called cartView.transform. And here we're going to modify its scale. In order to modify the scale of an image, you call the CG-affine, affine transform. And if you put in the parentheses, it'll show you different things that you can modify the image with. In this case, we're going to modify the scale X and scale Y, which is the fourth option. And for the CG float, for the parameters that you're going to pass in, it's going to take in the scale. There we go. So same thing here. This function will resize the carts. First we access the scale property. And then we access the cart that we want to modify. And then we modify selected cart. There we go. So now if we try this, let's go ahead and run it. There we go. Now this is going to be a bit weird and hard to do because you notice that this is always positioned in the center. So let's go ahead and drag this. Oh, grab two of them. Dang it. Let's drag. Dang it. Why does it drag both of them? You're gonna have to drag them into the middle. There we go. So that you can actually use the pinch gesture recognizer. In order to use the pinch gesture recognizer, you hold the Alt key or Option, and then you'll see these two circles pop up. And then once you put it in the middle, now you can just click and just drag around so you can see it like resize. There you go. And then now we have our gigantic Bowser. Cool. Alright, let's add another functionality. How about now let's add the rotation one. So we're gonna do, actually, the rotation you might not see it work because it's really hard to make it work. Let's add the tap gesture, so that when we tap on it, we'll make it go race against the other guys. So luckily Swift follows a very basic pattern. So we're gonna repeat the same process that we just did, but now we're gonna use it with the with the tap gesture recognizer. Go ahead and search that up on your object library and drag and drop to all of the images that you just did before. So I'm going to add it to cart 1, tap gesture, add it to Mario, and Toad. And you're going to add that functionality again. You're going to drag and drop into your view controller. So go ahead, oops, not the image. go ahead and drag and drop the tap gesture. It's pretty similar stuff. Did tap cart view. And the type, the same thing that you did with the other part, a tap gesture. Okay? Perfect. And now let's go ahead and add these functions to this functions. Assign them to this one again. Alright. And as you can guess, we are going to do the same process, but only this is a little bit different. So in here, we don't need to get anything from the selected cart, but we do need the cart. So let's first get the cart that we selected. And now we're going to access a method from UI view that allows us to animate an image so that it can move. In order to do that, you're going to need to have a basic understanding of math to see what happens here. So call the UI view dot animate, and with duration of 0.8 seconds. And for that amount of time, what we're going to do is we're going to have the cart move, right? So now what we're going to do is we're going to have the cart view center.x. Here we're just, since we're making the carts move horizontally, we're just going to this is why we're only modifying the cart view center x, because we're only modifying the coordinate horizontally so that it can move. And now we're going to, who can guess what we do just here? It's very simple. If you want an object from this coordinate to this coordinate, what do you do? From math. Do you guys remember algebra 2? One coordinate. If you want to go from coordinate 0, 1 to 0, 10, what do you do? You add 9, right? 9 coordinates or 9 units. So same thing here. We're going to plus equals 400. So for 0.8 seconds, we're going to be incrementing the cart view, the center x. We're going to make it move horizontally by 400 pixels for 0.8 seconds. Let's try and see what that does. Oh, but before you modify that, go ahead and change the tap gesture recognizers to 2. Because then it'll conflict with our pan gesture, the one that allows us to move the objects. So let's make it 2 so that it doesn't interfere with the pan gesture recognizer. Do the same thing for all tap gestures. Make it equal to 2. There you go. Alright, now let's try to run that. Cool, so let's have these guys formed up in the line as if they're going to race. Perfect. Now if we double tap on each image, it should move. Let's see. Boom, there you go. We got one. Let's try the other guy. There we go. It moved. Boom. Ooh, alright. There you go. We successfully made images move along the graph. Now if you want to do something cooler, like make it like what do you call it, a wheelie? Yeah. You can play around with the animation and make it tilted a little bit so that it can look like it's doing a wheelie and then going forward. But I'll leave you guys as a challenge for you guys. I'm just going to give you the basics here. So now let's add the rotation, the last functionality for our app. So I'm going to let you guys do this for the next 5 minutes. So it should be pretty straightforward. Rotation, add the rotation gesture to each of these, and then configure the function. And if you're stuck with finding out what the transform should be, I will come around and help you guys out. Alright? I want you guys to practice this. Go for it. I'll give you a hint for the rotation. You're going to use this method right here. Cart view transform, CG, affine transform. And you're gonna find one of the options there, and you're gonna notice that it's kind of obvious. All right, raise your hand if you were able to figure it out. Awesome, perfect. For those that didn't, let's follow along. So all you do is you access the rotation from the sender.view. In this case, it's going to be the rotation gesture, right? And then we access the cart that we want to modify. Sender.view. Oops, this is going to be sender.rotation. There we go. And then now you do the cart view transform. Same thing with the CG affine transform. You're going to notice that one of them says rotation angle. That's the one that you're supposed to use for making it the object rotate. So go ahead and add that, and we're going to pass in the rotation parameter that we created. There we go. If you guys tried doing it and it worked, let me know, because I've been trying so hard to make it work, but it's actually pretty hard. Because when I put this guy here, you see this always happens. It grabs two of them and then it messes it up. Let me try Bowser. So it should, like, you see, this is what happens. It's kind of hard doing it, but let me put him in the center. You got it? Let me see. Yeah, a little large sometimes. What? It's pretty hard doing it on the simulator, but if you're able to do it, great. Let me try it. Yeah, it doesn't want me. What, cracker? Come on. Oh, there we go. I got it. There we go. Look at that. Oh, dang it, messed up. But I was able to figure it out. Yeah, you just gotta have it like slightly on the outskirts of the image, or else it won't work. Yeah, it's kind of hard, but you should be able to do it as long as it works. We know that it works for sure. And so now let's add. If you notice, once we make our characters go, they're gone. We can't get it back. So that's something that we should fix for our application. In order to do that, we're going to create a reset button or a reset functionality. Let's go ahead and add that functionality to our app. So in here, we're going to add this time a long press gesture. But this time we're going to add it to the background image. Okay? So that whenever the user long presses on the background image, it's going to reset all the characters and bring them back where they were. So let's do that. So in order to do that, we're going to have to access the images. We're going to have to obtain their initial coordinates and store them in a variable so that when we call them a reset function, we'll know where they were initially when they started. So in order to do that, go ahead, open up your view controller and add the image views this time. So I'm going to make some space on top here, and I'm going to add this time, I'm going to add the carts themselves into my view controller. This is going to be cart view 0. There you go. And I'm going to also add the one for cart view 1. This is going to be cart view 1. And now for cart view 2. Cart view 2. There we go. Alright. You can close that. So now we have our cart views here. And what we want to do is we want to store their initial location right after we launch the app. So we're going to create variables for their starting points of each cart that we created. So let's create a variable called starting point for cart 1, for cart 0 I mean, and it's going to be a CG point, which is a coordinate within your iOS device. And let's create the same for our other carts, for cart 1 and for cart 2. So you should have something like this. So we're going to use these variables to store the initial location of our cart views. Now all you need to do is, since they don't have anything initialized, they don't have any values, now we need to tell them where they are located after the application runs. So in your viewDidLoad function, we're going to set the starting point for cart 0 equal to our cart view 0.center. So you see what this is doing right here? We're setting this variable, this point in this graph coordinate, equal to where our cart view UI image started, where it was before. Now we're going to do the same thing for our other carts, for cart view 1 and for cart view 2. There we go. So now we know where they start, but now we need to implement the functionality of restarting them, of actually putting them back where they were. Alrighty, so let's go ahead and create our function for long press. Go ahead and click on your long press from the storyboard, the long press gesture recognizer, and add that to your view controller. I'm going to add it. Here you go. And I'm going to call it did long press. Same with the type. You're going to make it a UI long press gesture. Bam. Alright. So now we have our long press gesture recognizer function. Now what we want to do here is this function is going to reset carts location. Alright. So in order to do that, it's pretty simple. All we have to do is change the center attribute of our image back to the starting point, right? So all we do is we do self dot cart view 0.center equal to self.starting point of cart 0, right? Because this is implying that the cards had already moved when we double tap them. You remember how we double tap them and the cards go? Well, now they're going to be located somewhere else on our phone screen. They're going to have a different coordinate. So we need to access the center of our image and set it back to our starting point where it was. And we're going to do the same thing for all our carts. For cart 1 and cart 2. There you go. Let's see what happens when we implement this functionality. So let's go ahead and put these on the race pattern. There you go. Boom. We see them fly off. And now let's do a long press on our background image. Boom. Oh shoot. They just all of a sudden appeared, right? But what if we resize these guys? Let me see what happens if I resize them. Bro, come on. Let me use Bowser. Come here. Come on, I'm trying to resize you. Okay, so that's what I was trying to do. You see how I rotated Bowser and I reset the background? He's not how he was originally. He's backwards. He's doing a backflip or something. So let's create an animation so that when we reset our carts, it'll look nicer, more friendly for the user to look at. Because when you modify these guys and you just move them around and you do a long press, they just pop out of nowhere. And that's kind of bad UI. So let's go ahead and create an animation for it instead. So same thing what we did before. We're going to access the UI view dot animate. And for the time interval, let's give it the same amount of time that we gave last time, 0.8 seconds. And we're going to create a closure. And within this amount of time, we're going to set them back to their original positions, right here. There we go. And you also notice that when we reset them back to their original coordinate, the images themselves only went back. But if we resized them or rotated them, it didn't went back to the original position. So let's also transform their size and their rotation back to how they were before. Let's go ahead and add these functionality to it. Cart view 0.transform equals CGA fine dot identity. What this is doing is that it's resetting the size and the rotation of the image back to the original rotation and scale that it had before. And we're going to do the same for all our carts. There we go. Now let's run it this time and see how it resets our carts. Alrighty, so I'm going to make these carts go. Let's go ahead and run them. Now if I restart it, if I do a long press, they should go back in a more user-friendly way. There we go. You saw how they were nicely drawn back to their position? There we go. Perfect. And now let's try rotating them or like increasing their size. Hopefully I can get that to work. No. Dang it. Is anyone able to resize them? I'm having a lot of trouble. this guy. Wow, yeah, I can't do it. But if you resize them or you rotate them and you reset it, it should adjust them to their original rotation and scale that they had before. All right. So that is it for today. I wanted to make a short lecture and also fun because I know that it's been 9 weeks and you guys have been learning nothing but a bunch of servers, parse, table views, a bunch of non-fun stuff. It might be fun actually, but nothing like really interactive. And so this is going to be the last lecture in which we learn animations. Next lecture, we're going to learn how to upload your apps to the App Store. So if you're interested in knowing how to push your app to the App Store and have it, being known to the whole world, come to our next lecture, and I will show you how to do that. And even if you're not planning to, it's really good skill to have, so that when you get, go through interviews, you're like, oh yeah, I know how to push an app to the App Store. Easy money. So this concludes for our last lecture, guys, for the quarter, like official iOS lecture. Next week, there won't be that much technicalities going on. It will be mostly how to push to the App Store. And it's mainly just a lot of work and a lot of certificates that you need to download. But this concludes with our iOS course so far for this quarter. And I hope that you guys have been learning a lot so far and also have gained some valuable skills in iOS development. And like I said before, you guys can get internships already. One of our students got one, so don't be afraid to apply for internships in iOS development. You guys literally learned iOS development in a quarter, and this is like, I've shown you more than enough to be a full stack developer in iOS development. So all the things that you've learned so far, you can literally start working at any company right now for iOS. So this concludes with today. I just want to go reiterate through the homework and make sure that you guys have everything down for next week. So I will send you guys this. This is your homework for next week. Since the admins were not able to complete and the engineers weren't able to complete all the rest of the units because they're still updating them, we're going to do our own. I talked to the CEO directly, and he told me to he's going to send me a list of the things that you guys should have on your GitHub. And by the end of the quarter, we're going to get some engineers. Next week is week 10, right? Yeah. Next Friday, 6 p.m. here, okay? No, not 6 p.m. 5:30 p.m. right here in this room. We're going to meet up, and we're going to have our demo day, and you guys will what happened? Week 10. Yeah, so next Friday, I will send a reminder for it on the email too. Next Friday, 5:30 p.m. right here. We're going to start our app demos, and I'm going to have a live video, hopefully, with a couple of engineers showing up and actually looking at you guys, so that if they're interested in hiring or they want to give you feedback, they will be there to provide feedback for you guys later on through an email. So make sure you guys polish up your application that you're developing right now, and make sure that you have something presentable at least. And also, a little hint, make it look nice. Oftentimes engineers just like it when it looks nice. At hackathons especially, some of the students that went from here that went to hackathons, they actually won just because it looked nice. Like it didn't even work, but it looked nice. That's all they care about. So as long as your app looks nice and you have some dummy data so that you can show them like this is how it should work, that's good enough for them. That shows that you know at least how to work with table views, APIs, or even how to set up a server if you're planning on setting up one. So those are the tips and tricks. I will send you guys a list of all the things that your GitHub should have. Make sure you update your GitHub constantly and organize it very well, okay? All right, guys, this concludes our today's lecture. Thank you. And if you have questions, come up here. If you want to see your grades as well, I have your grades.
think I was trying to run the tap. What is it?
The long tap gesture?
I think it was the hand. Oh, just to move it. The first one, just to move it. Every time I would click on it, it's weird. It would take me back to Xcode. But when I double tap it, that works. So other gestures work, but the first one doesn't.
Just the first one, right?
Yeah.
Alright.
But if I were to tap, or see, so that moves, right?
Okay.
When I tap on it, it doesn't.
Oh,
do
the pan gesture is you have to move it. So you have to click and drag
anything.
it.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
I
and
see.
it.
Gives you an error,
I
huh?
know what that meant.
Alright. Unrecognized selector. Oh. When you get an error like this, unrecognized selector, it has to do with your storyboard. So let's go ahead and back to our storyboard. And when you get an error like this, you have to check the outlets. So go ahead and click on the pen gestures. And here we see, okay. Finally, we notice that our view controller is set up to the correct gesture recognizer. So that's good. This one as well. And this one too. Huh. What about the images? Okay, they're all connected. Moria as well, and this one too. If that's the case, then I think what's going on is something with the with the code. Yeah, it's not connected. Or at least it seems like it's not. So what I think happened is that you created it and you accidentally deleted it and
Yeah.
recreated it. Oh, okay.
Oh.
So whenever you get an error like that, check the storyboard outlets, and if everything looks fine there, check the outlet here.
Okay.
And you see that it's not, it's empty. It should be
Okay.
bright like this one.
So how do I change?
So we're going to do the same thing as we did before. You're going to open up your view controller, go to the outlet that's missing, and add it here. And add it to this function. Boom.
All three of them?
And do it, all three of them. There you go. Try it this time. You have a question?
Yeah, I just missed the microphone.
Yeah.
It works. Thank you.
Yeah? Awesome. Let me see. Grades. All right. What was your name?
Yes. 18.
8 p.m.?
Yeah.
So you're doing pretty good. 100%. Everything is fine. These are your individual grades for the assignments. The highest that you can get is 10. If that means if you did above 10, that means that you did bonuses, right? So yeah, you got 10s and you got more than 10 on these two projects. So that's pretty good.
Yeah.
So pretty good.
Yeah.
You have attendance 100%. Everything is fine. Congratulations. Yeah.
I have a question. So we were saying with maps. So in order to incorporate the API, how do we do that? Can we just look at past projects? Like how do they incorporate that API into the
Wait, what are you trying to do?
So well just a part of it is using the maps API and putting a location from one to another.
Yeah.
How do we do that? Like grab the data out of the API.
Grab the data of the API and put it into the. So you want to grab data from the API and put it on your map.
Yeah.
You need to access the location, the coordinates.
Okay.
So what do you want to put? You want to put like a pin of like.
well we were trying to do like okay, so our thing was like yeah, for like from classroom to classroom. So
Oh, you're doing something harder. Okay. I haven't worked with directions on maps.
Okay,
That would be the hard part for you.
because I know for like one of the projects we did in class was just like inputting data on it to an like giving data to an API and then like receiving it, like
Mhm.
putting in the query. So I don't know if it's similar to that.
Oh, did you? Yeah. Did you take it with Wharton?
Yeah.
Oh, you want to use that one?
Yeah, so I mean something similar. 'cause
Something
I'm pretty
similar
sure,
to that.
I'm pretty sure like Xcode has their own difference?
You can. So you remember how it returned you the latitude and longitude?
Yeah.
I
mean, our project was
Yeah.
different this year because we did stocks.
Oh, really?
But the
Stocks?
years before they did the maps.
Yeah, we did the maps.
Yeah.
Oh shoot. Well, what you can do is you can get you can use the API for maps. I forgot what we used for Thornton's class. MapQuest. MapQuest API, and all it does is it takes a query that you want to search. For example, if you
Yeah.
want to search a classroom, you might struggle with the classrooms because they're not listed on. Like if you search up a classroom on the Google Maps,
Yeah.
it will not show
Yeah.
you. Yeah, might show you the buildings,
Yeah.
but that's about it.
I mean, because from building to building, yeah, you can just input that. But then
Yeah.
for classroom, we're thinking of trying to create our whole new model. But
Oh,
that's
shoot.
gonna be-
Yeah.
That's gonna be rough. Yikes, that's a little rough. But for you should start off with building to building first.
Yeah.
So all you do is you import your MapQuest API. It takes in the search parameters, the place that you want to go to, point A, point B. You give it those that query, and once it searches, it'll return you a latitude, longitude, and a couple other things like how far it is, the directions also, and oh, hey Tam. Yeah, we finished. Today was but I'll give you the attendance. If you guys could just do it for me. The bit lead, the code path. Oh, you guys got the email, right? Yeah. The code is schema.
Schema.
Yeah, I'll show it.
Lowercase.
Yeah, all lowercase, right here.
Cool.
Wait, what? Oh yeah, so all you should do is using that MapQuest API, just grab the latitude and longitude, and the hard part would be finding out how to use the directions on the Apple Maps, which I don't know how to implement.
The coordinates of like each classroom. Yeah.
Oh, like store them you can store them like in a dictionary or something, and then what you can do is you can use every time that the user types in like humanities, it should show up that coordinate and send it to the API. Is that something?
Yeah.
Is that like okay? Yeah.
Right.
So that's how. Is there any other questions you guys had regarding that?
Oh, and we submitted a thing for the code path, but it was on her group. So like when you switched it, it didn't transfer over. So
Oh, don't worry. I'm gonna rearrange. You know how I was rearranging the group? I'm gonna fix them again
okay.
using the GitHub's
Alright.
README. Yeah, don't worry. You guys are good.
Thanks.
Okay.
Yeah.
See you guys.
See ya.
So, oh, you guys got it?
Oh yeah, we got it.
Oh yeah. Sorry about that, guys. It was a short lecture, but I'll send you the completed projects for the. We worked on.
You said it was animation this time.
Yeah, we worked on animations today, so pretty cool.
So is that using like Sprite Kit or is it?
No, this is using
Okay.
the foundations of iOS. Pretty simple stuff.
Is this an old lab?
It's an
I
old
saw
app.
this lab like on like a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, it's an old app.
Oh.
It's because I hadn't done it. So because when I was doing the training, we didn't do this. This is where I changed it up a little, because what we did for our lab was we incorporated models into flicks.
Oh.
Yeah. So you know how we had the movie, we had to construct the whole class from movie, and then use the API to construct it and everything. It was actually pretty more intense, like more PADIS intense. Yeah. Classes. And since I hadn't done it, and it made sense to me too, I was like, why am I gonna go through animations? Like, if Twitter, like Parstagram is dealing with classes. You know, you have post, that should be a class. And I'm surprised they didn't do that with you guys on the tutorials, right? They didn't do any classes.
Yeah, it was all just dictionary.
Yeah.
Using keys, which I thought was kind of weird. But
Yeah, because when I did it on my videos, we did classes.
Mhm.
We had classes for post and for users, which was kind of weird for me, seeing that there wasn't no.
yeah, 'cause I mean that's not something you would do like in an industry. Like you wouldn't want to always like.
Yeah, I'd never use freaking
Just
dictionary
use it,
keys.
yeah.
Yeah, which is why I wanted to show you guys how to do models also, because it made more sense to me,
Yeah.
and because it's also what gets you internships. MVC. If you know MVC in iOS, it's easy money. I was just telling the students how one of my students got from Tuesday session, they got an internship, Omada Health for iOS. Yep. And they asked them super simple stuff that you guys learned, flicks. They give them an API for food, and they told them, all right, use this API and put this on a table view. Show me the food name and the description and the ingredients that you
It
need.
wasn't a whiteboard question, was it?
No,
Okay.
They paired him up with an actual engineer for that company. It's called Omada Health. Where is it? This is the company that he got into. I think it's like I don't even know what they do. They're like
Where are they at?
they're in San Francisco.
I don't know.
Yeah. But I think what they do is they do personalized health insurance through their app. So you tell them what you have and everything, and then it'll tell you like, oh, this is what you need. This is what you should do also. And it's very app heavy. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So, and on the way they asked him like, oh, why do you use a cell? Why are you casting it as a food cell? Like, why do you do that? Just simple stuff. But I already taught you guys all that. Easy money. Yep. So go ahead. I'm telling you guys should apply for internships like right off the bat. And I'm telling you, the curriculum that we went over, we literally teach you full stack development, like within a quarter, which there's no other class that teaches you that up until you take after 122B. But that takes like a year and a half.
Yeah, that's wild.
Yeah.
You made the Word one. Are you calling an API on that, or is that a
Zipwords?
local- Yeah.
The one that I made? No, I have
It's also
It's a JSON file. Yeah, it's a big fat JSON file of all the words in English.
So like if you were
So the
setting up-
runtime is it's 101. Yeah.
That's nice. Yeah.
Yeah.
If you were setting up like a proper backend, like because obviously you wouldn't use parse like outside like a hackathon kind of style project. Like if you're looking long term, what would you?
What would I use? Oh, Firebase or AWS. I use Firebase for my other app.
Gotcha.
Yeah. But those, yeah, because AWS is widely used. Firebase, Lyft uses it. I think Slack also uses Firebase. But yeah,
They work the same way as parse.
yeah, very similar.
Well, doesn't parse does a lot more stuff for you.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they do a
that's,
lot more things like easily for you. Firebase is more heavy duty. Like if you want to sort things when you call them, you know how when we retrieve the post from parse, there was a method that says descending order so that you can get the most recent. Yeah, what is it called? Firebase doesn't do that. You have to create your own sorting method.
And
And
also,
you have to
parse
implement it efficiently, because if you don't, your app is going to be so slow and awful.
Parse links all of the connected classes for you, like
Yeah.
users with posts and all that stuff.
Yeah, they connect
Otherwise,
everything
have to
for
do it
you.
by IDs and do a second query.
Or getting the current user that's logged in. Yeah, Firebase, you have to do that. It was really hard to implement that
Yeah.
when I was doing it. But that's pretty much it. But I mean, it gives you parse is really good for like learning the basics.
Mm.
Like it shows you like the
So
holistic view of how.
For this, like you're focusing on the front end and like how to do the calls and stuff. You don't
Yeah,
do
how to
this,
connect both. We're focusing more on the MVC structure. Well, we didn't do models that much, but I tried to incorporate models there.
So then for next week, where should we be at with our groups?
Next week?
Yeah.
So this week, last week, so 3 weeks. First week, designing and planning. This week, sprints.
Okay.
So this is where you should start coding and everything. Last week should be polishing up.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah. And, oh yeah, we're going to be here Friday, 5:30 p.m.
Okay.
For class or is that office hours?
For the demo day.
Like in next
Yeah,
week.
next week is week 10 already.
Next Friday.
Yeah,
Is demo
so
day.
so demo day, and I'll be having engineers in live video chat.
Oh, so you did go?
We'll get some, at least 2 for sure, and they'll be looking at your apps. And if they like them, then they might even get the recruiters to contact you and do an interview for them. Yeah, or for next year, since like most of the hiring season is almost over. Yeah, so it's getting pretty close. But if not, I mean, they'll still keep you on the record.
Yeah. This connection.
And scholarships. Remember how I told you guys would get scholarships? I just got one today.
Hey, congratulations.
Through CodePath, huh? Yeah. So keep it up. I mean, you guys will be contacted after the course. They select the top students, and they will be obviously have higher priority for scholarships and like, and for the online VIP. What do they call it? Like conference, like interview conference.
A handshake kind of thing?
Yeah, like handshake kind of thing, but where they actually respond.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
So that's pretty much about it for today. And The animations isn't so hard. You just add the gestures recognizer. So these are all the types of recognizers. There's a There's a swipe. There's a rotation. The ones that we added was the tap, the pinch, the rotation, and the pan gesture recognizer, and the long press. So if we were to run this, all we do is the pan gesture recognizer moves things. So for example, if you want to drag something, you can't, it's kind of hard to see it here because of the simulator, but on your phone it should be smooth. You should be able to see it like move along smoothly. That's the pan gesture recognizer. Then you have the pinch gesture recognizer. It should zoom in and out and make the image bigger. And we also have the rotation. Oh, that's kind of hard. Yeah, the rotation one is really hard to make.
It's stuff on the simulator.
Yeah, it's really hard. But anyway, it should be able to rotate it. And the last one is the double tap. So when you double tap on them, they should make the little cards move. Long press is for resetting it. So what? Because they're gone, right? So we need to figure out a way of resetting it. So if you do long press, they come back.
Oh, no, they did that too.
Yeah, we use an animation to animate them back. It's free because that's better UI. Because if you just had them pop up, that's like holy crap, it trips you out. But yeah, we added animation so that they can go back.
You put them on the sky.
You can put them anywhere. Yeah. That's why I wanted to put it like at the last lecture, because it's not many people are gonna do like animations.
I feel like the model was more important.
Yeah, the model was more important. That's why I taught you guys that. And then this should be like last, because it's fun. You know, it's pretty fun doing animations. But yeah, no sprite kit. Sprite kit is for games. Screw that. I don't like games that much. The one that I made was like more. It wasn't sprite, so that's why I like my game. But yeah, if you're into games, sprite kit is the way to go. How are you guys on your app so far? Oh, also let me check on the groups. You guys are on the.
Yeah.
You know where you can get resources for using AR?
Yeah. That one company, right?
Yeah, that one company, and also just YouTube videos. Yeah, because I'm not as specialized in AR.
I mean, like, I feel like AR.
Did you go to them?
Not yet.
Not yet?
I'll reach out this week. But, I mean, the majority of it though, like, it's just like getting the reviews, right? The AR, that's only the one single view.
This is one AR.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I mean, the majority of our projects will
Profiles.
the
Yeah.
navigation. And a lot of them to the
So since you guys have 5 people, I put you 3 because this thing only lets me have 4 people. So I split up Lily and David Bowie
What is the
into
47?
one. The what?
Like 80.8, 47.
Oh, that's the like the match ratio.
Oh, like how compatible?
Yeah, how compatible based on your preferences. So if there was one group that didn't select you, then the rating would go down. Yeah. There you go. Yeah, but I'll check on, since I asked you guys to go on the GitHub. I'll look at your GitHubs and then modify. Since there was only one person that submitted, that's great. That way I can modify the groups to how they're supposed to be. Yeah.
So, yeah, ours isn't on there.
No? Did you submit it on the?
Yeah.
Unit 8? Yeah. Huh. Maybe it just takes some time to load. Oh, it's maybe because I modified the group so it made it disappear. I'm not sure because I took out Lily and David.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it might have conflicted with the group that you had.
You want me to resubmit it or you know what to do?
Resubmit it. Let's try to see if it works now.
You have a working app next week.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty much.
Polished app already. Working app this week and then polish it next week. And next week I'll show you guys how to upload to App Store your app in case you're looking forward to that.
Is it a developer program like $99 a year?
Yeah,
I got a developer license.
Oh, there you go. But I mean, even just knowing how to do it, because it's a pain in the butt doing all their work, because you're gonna struggle. Yeah.
It's so stupid.
Yeah, you need like the images for the preview. They have to be exactly a certain size. And oh, hey man.
Yeah, today I have a meeting. Yeah.
Oh, no worries. Can you
So,
sign in?
um,
Yeah.
I still have some questions to ask.
Okay. Go for it. Oh, did you submit it?
Yeah.
Let me see. Nah, I think it'll just take a while though. Yeah, it'll take a while. Don't worry. I know you guys are doing the work, so it's fine.
Let me know if you need it.
Yeah. What do you guys think of my app? It's for one of my classes for data analytics. I made an app that analyzes food. So the main key here, what separates my app and like the actual Yelp, is that ratings tell you one side of the story, but people's sentiments, their words, tell you another. So I made an app that goes through the reviews of people on Yelp, the actual reviews, the text, and use sentiment analysis to analyze how people are feeling about the restaurant. Because the rating tells you one thing, but actually knowing what they're feeling about it is different. So we're using Yelp API to get all the reviews, and then you just search up the food that you want, like tacos in Irvine, and then bam. Oh, hey man. Oh, could you sign in though?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, go for it.
Thanks.
The code is schema. Yeah.
That's just like.
Is it loading? Oh, there we go. So once it loads, some of the right now we made it 3 because the API call is it has a limit of 5,000 calls. So we don't want to use them up all of them yet. So it's supposed to give you more businesses, but here it gives you the amount of reviews, the rating the overall rating that they have, and the sentiment score of the reviews.
So some
Yeah.
are positive, some are not.
Yeah, and you can see the differences, right? Like even though this place has 4.5 stars, people feel somewhat positive about it. And here, this place that has a 4. So look, here's a good example. These have 4.0 ratings, right? But here's where they differ on how they feel about it based on the reviews that they gave. You see, this place is neutral. The other place they feel positive.
How do you judge the sentiment score? Is that like an external API or?
Yeah, the text blob.
Okay.
Yeah. And here you can click on it and it'll show you, it's supposed to show you more reviews, but for now it's limited to 3 reviews so that we don't run out of API calls. And here's our evidence, like, oh, this is what the score is for each review. So you can see that this guy for sure feels, it's between -1 and 1. So 1 is like, dude, this is the best place on earth. And -1 is like horrible. So you can see here is like, oh, he's got exactly what I want here. Excellent tacos. You can see that it's 0.54, which is clearly like positive, right? Pretty positive. If it's like 0 near 0, that's neutral. So, and you can see clearly that this is neutral right here. Good, ambience was nice. Service was okay. The bad, overpriced. Obviously, this guy's neutral about it. You can really tell.
What kind of heuristics are you using to like analyze the words? Are you
TextBlob. TextBlob does everything for you.
Oh, it just does everything for you?
Yeah, it does everything for you.
So
You
like-
literally just pass it in the string,
Yeah.
and it does everything for
And
you.
they'll tell you whether the word is like neutral or positive or
Oh, that you just use your own score. But
Oh, okay.
I mean, you can kind of tell if it's from -1 to 1, that you can tell that -1 is horrible, 0 is like neutral, and then 1 is positive.
Right.
So I just made parameters like, oh, if it's between 0 and -25, it's like somewhat negative.
Mm.
If it's between -15 and positive 0.15, then that's like neutral.
Yeah.
Anything above 0.15, that's like pretty good, somewhat positive. And anything above 0.5, then that's obviously even more positive. And then we get the overall sentiment based on all of the sentiments that we calculated. Yeah, you can search up anywhere. Like you can even search up New York, and that'll work. You just have to wait it to load. There you go.
Did you bootstrap the HTML?
What happened?
Bootstrap the HTML.
Oh yeah, yeah. There you go, and you can see the ratings for it. Yeah. Flask. That's the way to go. But hey, I tried using AppSpot, dude. I hate it.
Yeah.
It's
I'm not a big
old.
fan
I don't want to use Python 2.7. I want to use Python 3.7. So I use Heroku instead. It's a bit easier to deploy apps. Way easier, actually.
Yeah, we're looking on Origin because like we did the main UCI thing on AppSpot.
Yeah. Are you going to try to use it on Heroku?
I don't know what we're gonna do, but we definitely need to shift the backend because right now it's using a SQL server, and you gotta pay for SQL servers. So like,
Ooh.
Google credits are starting to run a little low from the hackathon.
Oh,
So
shoot.
we're gonna migrate to SQL.
No SQL? Yeah, it's easier. Just use Firebase. Free. Yeah, dude. But
I
yeah.
mean, I'm surprised. Like, it's really hard to deploy something to like a cloud app. Like, there's a lot of stuff you need to know like, when deploying it.
Dude,
And like,
For
you gotta
here?
worry about payments and like credits and all that stuff.
for Heroku, it's so much easier.
Is it?
It's so much easier. I created. Let me quit this.
Because I was thinking like, there's so many like students who like are trying to build stuff, who just have no idea how to like get it out there. And
Yeah.
if Amazon or Google or like Microsoft would like put out like a free like student program,
Yeah,
it'd
that would be.
so much business. And then now all of a sudden like every single CS kid like knows how to use the platform.
That is
So-
true.
Yeah, it's just stupid business.
And it's also because there's not that much documentation
yeah.
or like any tutorials. But I after like 4 hours of researching, I was able to figure it out. So I created my own template. Eventually, I'll create a video on how to deploy apps on Heroku. But I made a template so that you guys can download it, and then
That was nice.
and I even put the steps here. It's pretty simple, dude.
Yeah.
This is all you need. You need your virtual environment. Install Flask and Junicorn.
What's the input? Yeah.
Junicorn?
Yeah.
It's a what is it called? It's a framework that allows backend processes to be done with another language. So back then it would be PHP,
Okay.
but Junicorn allows you to use Python as to handle processes for your web app. And then all you do is you create your proc file, which essentially is like your YAML on AppSpot. You create your proc file, and all you need on your proc file is this. That's it. No requirements.txt. You do need your requirements.txt, but these are the only things you need from pip.
Yeah, it's not good.
It's hell easy. And then once you go to Heroku, let me show you.
See ya.
All right, Tam. Take care.
Work on the project this week.
Yeah. Alright, try to make up some stuff. We'll talk about it.
You want to make like a schedule, like a Wednesday meeting or whatever, so that we all know when we're gonna.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's talk on Messenger. We'll figure all that out for what we're gonna use. Alright. Alright. Sounds good. See you then.
You literally just create your project, and you go on the deploy section. Here, you just connect it to your GitHub, the project that you're working on,
Oh dang.
and
So
then
the uploader just pulls it.
yeah, it just pulls it and then automatically deploys. That's it.
It's crazy.
As long as all you need is you may have to make sure that you have these pip install requirements.
I mean, like, is anyone using Heroku like in industry though? Besides like small projects, I feel like it doesn't scale very well, does it? You gotta pay once you start getting a lot of users.
Yeah, but the thing is that no one knows how to use Firebase. If you know how to use Firebase, you can implement that here on your Heroku app, and yet they're free. Most of them. I have even for your the Instagram one that you guys created.
Yeah.
It's free. So there's nothing much going on.
Yeah, I'll probably use this then for our
Oh, for your app right now?
for our backend.
Oh, yeah, that can work. I mean, you should always start with like parse. This is super easy, and later on,
Deploying.
Huh?
Just for deploying it out.
yeah, just for deploying it out quickly. Later on, Firebase, and then it'll be easy.
For sure. All right.
Alright.
See you next week then.
Yeah.
Take care.
All right, Chase, take care. Question.
Yeah.
Let's see.
I have some questions. Like, probably it's not a bug, but seems like a bit bothersome. Like when I sign up, I just do it quick.
Grab a chair. I'm tired. You can sit down too. There you go.
So what I did, I searched online to find out how to do this, the scrolling.
Nice.
Yeah, but the problem is that, like by default, like the problem is like if
It doesn't change.
yeah, and also there's another problem. Another problem is that if just like if the user just want to choose male, and then if the birthday that the major they pop up is just computer science, they just want that. They don't want to scroll, but by default it's not showing up. They need to scroll somehow to do the action in order to like make the text field appear.
What do you mean?
Like
Show me.
like if what if their major is just computer science, and if they want to click it and then just computer science will be right there. But right now, what I can do is they need to scroll. Like they need to scroll one time.
Oh. What you do is
Yeah, this one doesn't have any.
so like let's say that you want this as default,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, what if my birthday just has this? Yeah.
Where's the function that does that?
Okay. It's the second page of style. Yeah. So yeah, it will be dated
Where's the function?
function create pictures. So this room, so this is called, I just make it called gender field, and this is the birthday field. This is the major field.
Let's see if we can figure that out. For the pick view.
Yeah. So I use a current text field. I made function to detect like which column, which row did they actually like click. So I made the difference. So this is the right way to
This is
do
for the
it.
major, right?
Uh,
Yeah, this is fine.
yeah, if the current text field that the user is tap on is major field, then just that major pops up. But right now, if they want the default value, what if the user just wants the default value, but they need
Yeah.
to scroll again somehow in order to get the default value.
Mhm.
I don't know how to like make it set the default value for the people. That way, if the first option is what they want.
Yeah. So what we should do is here return the default.
Default?
Yeah, because you see what you're doing here. You're returning nothing.
Yeah.
So make it return a default value.
Default value,
In this case, it would be major 0.
major 0. But how can I
But
differentiate?
here's the issue. Yeah, you have a gender.
Yeah, a gender and a major. What should I do?
Separate them.
Like I made 2 picture views.
So for now, let's see if my hypothesis works before you split them up. Let's just do the major 0.
And let me do this. Make it fast. So right now it's major. So
This is the one.
this
I think it's this one.
this is the distillate road.
Yeah.
Oh, set the view.
Yeah.
Or maybe I need to like make it like clickable somehow.
Yeah, maybe. Let me see. Oh, no, you know what you should. You add a blank value. Let me show you.
Oh.
Here. So, where are the. Here it is. So, here you just add one that says select major. Make sense?
Yeah. Oh, so the user they need to scroll somehow.
Mm-hmm. You get it?
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
That's the trick.
That's how they do it. Yeah, I remember now. Because every time whenever I signed up for something, it always says like, oh, select role. Or when you apply for internships, it says select role.
Oh.
They have that as a first option. Yeah, see?
Oh, I see. Oh, that play around the trick.
Or you can just have it empty.
Empty?
Yeah.
Do they need to scroll?
So yeah, they're gonna have to scroll regardless. There you go.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's pretty decent way to do it.
Right?
Like in most cases, when I use the app, I saw they have a done button right here. And so if the first option is the user's option, they can just press the done button and then.
For that, you
Is it that require more complicated work?
no.
Like if that's their first option, they just click the done button. Like
It's pretty easy. Don't do it. What the heck?
is it called something called UI?
Okay. Yeah. This one. And you just add it to the keyboard. So
Add to the keyboard.
yeah.
I did experiment it a little bit,
You experiment with that?
but when I click the done button, although it can go away the keyboard, but it cannot select the first value.
Can I select the first value?
If the user like hasn't done any scoring, they just want the first option, then they just click done and then that's it. So
Oh.
I still can select the first value.
Well, that's why you no, that's why you force them to scroll.
Oh,
That's why you create a blank one.
I don't know how the Safari built-in can do it. I don't know. Like Safari, like the keyboard, like when I use my iPhone to view the schedule of classes, the Safari, the built-in can do something.
What does it do?
Like if I just want the first value.
Oh, when you click down, it'll give you that first value.
Yeah.
Well, what you do is that's why you create the function here on the. So when you create the. Oh yeah, you need to add the self. So in here, you're gonna add it to the current text field. And just create the done button. So here, the done button action, you just make it return you the first value.
Right here?
Yeah.
I see.
So when the user is finished, when you click done, here you get the first item that you want.
Get the first value. But I have like different fields, like one for the gender, one for the major, and also birthday. So I get the first value. How to get the first value like across the different fields.
That's where you're gonna have to figure it out. But this is how you would dismiss the keyword right here.
Oh, the trick is right here.
So if you got major, you didn't put it.
I think yes. Because I saw it's an button items. I saw it like
Oh,
that I need to like call the class names somehow.
no, you just need this function. We didn't call it. This one, the add button.
Oh
We
yeah.
didn't call it.
Oh yeah.
I think you're gonna have to do it to each one of them.
For the done button.
Yeah. So you would add this to the. In here, you would add it to the major. the gender field. You would add it to the major field. You also add it to the birthday. And also for the hometown.
Hometown, not necessarily. I did not make it before.
Oh yeah, but it's nice to have the done button there.
Oh,
Yeah. There you go.
Oh yeah, that's the issue that I was encountering. Yeah. So normally what iOS does is that like I think I need to enable this line like current like view and everything in true.
Yeah. I think this one should be better.
Yeah, the issue is I still cannot select the first value.
We'll get it.
This one can resign.
There you go. It resigns all of them now.
Yeah.
So now we need to figure out a way in which we can just return the item that was selected. So what you do is if this is what happens when you click done, right?
Yeah.
User clicks done button. So what happens when we click done?
Then they just exit.
No.
Uh,
What do you want to do?
like
I click done and I'm here. What I want.
this one to return the
Or this. Exactly.
The field.
I want that, right? It doesn't do it.
Yeah.
So if current text field equals, we're gonna do the same thing that you were doing over here. By the right here.
yeah just do a gender.
Yep. For example, if it's on the gender field, then what we do is we get the item that was being picked from the here from the picker view. We return the major.row, right?
Yeah, I know it can return, but still cannot like extract the information outside.
Yeah. So we need to access that value that was passed in. Get picker. Hang on. Oh, you already looked it up. Huh?
But I still can't understand. I can understand what it says.
Ah, okay. Did select. So it's like table views. What happens when you tap on a cell? You want it to show you the image, right?
Yeah.
From Flicks. Remember how we tap on the movie?
tap on
Flex.
the flex is like
You tap on a cell.
Yeah.
And it shows you the movie.
it's the navigation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you tap on that movie. Remember, right?
Yeah.
Same thing here. We wanna if we tap on a or not tap, but we click done, we wanna get that item.
Yeah.
So we're gonna do something similar here. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna create a variable called current item. And what I'm going to do is when I'm on the gender field, did select row. If it's here, then I'm not gonna make it equal to the where's the one for the date?
Date. For the date, they don't need this for pick view functions. They, I don't know, they somehow use
Yeah, right here. Yeah, here. This one is changed. But what about the normal one?
normal one, date, a target. Yeah, so add the target and then I just call this function.
Yeah.
And then it does all the thing.
Wait, but for the birthday it's fine because they have to.
Yeah, I
They
know,
have to go all the way down,
yeah,
so it's
yeah,
fine.
birthday is fine, but for the major, for the gender, like it would be nice if by default the user is a male, then he can just like click done. And then it shows me some Objective C code I don't understand.
Yeah.
That's not. Okay. Rồi á, tôi sẽ quy đồng một TikTok cả. Đây, đây mà gì nữa? Quy đồng một TikTok cả đi. Oh.
What I'm going to do is I'm going to select picker view and then select row.
Would it be a problem if I use the picker view in two different places?
No. I'm going to try this out.
But the row is not defined.
replace it with whatever you want. Who's this for? So what I'm doing is that if I'm in the gender field, I'm going to select the default. Oh, actually, yeah. I just wanted to select the. If I click button, then I'm going to select the first row. There you go. After I click done, it will select this row. Let me delete this one. Hopefully it'll work. If not, then I don't know. I've never done this before. But if anything, you can just use blank strings.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I played the trick. I just I put made the first item. I just select.
Oh, wait.
something.
No. I know why. It's because, look, I'll show you. So, it's because we're not doing anything. We're just selecting it. This only selects it.
Yeah.
It doesn't do anything to the text field.
Oh.
You see what I mean?
Oh.
Yeah. So let me.
I still need the if statement, right?
Yeah.
Oh, just pass it out.
Whatever. Oh. So picker. What? It's the same one. Wow.
No.
Oh, this is just to have it on the first one always. You see what I mean?
First one.
Yeah. So what this is doing is that it's always going to select the first one. So for example, if I do 1, it's always going to give me the second item on the picker. I'll show you. Oh, I guess not. Wait a minute. Oh, yeah, you see? You see what it did? If I go here and if I click done, it's gonna give me this item. Watch. If I put it back, you see? It selected this one.
Yeah.
Yeah, you saw that?
Yeah.
So what we need to do is select it at the beginning.
So like -1.
No, the first one. Always select it. So that whenever we pop up the picker,
Alright, now it just goes to the next one.
let me just try adding it here.
Put it very top.
Yeah, right here. So it's gonna select the first one right after, before you even tap on the text field. Let's see. What I want is to show picker. Okay, this is what we'll do.
Make it even more at the front.
No, it has to be with text, with dot text. This one.
Deselect.
But this did select row. Picker view, get selected. Those things. How about this? When we click the done button, it's going to be the picker view. This is your array. Oh. Let's say, for example, picker view, select the row and component. There you go. That's the first one. How about that? And then we just set the with gender dot text field. Select the value.
I feel the question mark, the exclamation mark, those are really annoying.
Oh yeah, don't worry. So if I click done, there you go. You saw it?
Wow. It did it.
Yeah, but you saw what I did, right? So I get the selected value, right?
So,
Okay.
Right. Đó, phẫu phạt, mình đâu là thành công là.
So what I did is I get the selected one after user clicks done, I get the selected value, which in this case it's the first gender. This one. The first one.
Yeah.
Male.
Male.
I get the first one, and then I set the field, the text field, to that selected item. Now we just have to know where I'm selecting. So if current text field is a gender field, then we do this. Elif,
Else.
yeah, it's else if.
Python.
Yeah, Python is equal to the
Major.
major. Then we do the same, but this time it's going to be the
Major and major field.
Yep. The selected value is going to be major. There you go. There. Let's see if this works. So gender. There you go.
So if
Let's try major.
So if I make some selection, then it will go away.
Yeah, it'll go away.
Oh, why that it would go away? Like it does not always set it to the first item.
No, it selects the selected one.
Selected one.
Yep.
This one is
So in other words, you don't even need this anymore. This
really.
the
I don't need to like override this one.
this one.
Deselect.
You don't need this one anymore.
Really?
Yeah. Unless you want it to change as you scroll.
Change.
So let me show you. Let me show you what I mean. Look at the birthday. I change it, and it did it automatically, right?
Yeah.
Here, I change it, nothing happens. Until I click done.
Yeah.
Cool. You see what it does? So, but with this one, what this would do is it would change it
Instantly.
instantly as I change it. Like if I change it to February, boom, it changes it
Oh yeah.
like that.
I see.
But with these, you just select that you want, and then you have to click done,
Oh.
and then it'll change it. You see what I mean? You can leave it if you want. If you want it to change while you change it, let me show you what happens when you have it.
But it doesn't hurt them much, right? The user experience.
It doesn't hurt anything.
Yeah.
No.
Because I saw like most app what they
Yeah, like
did
it
is
changes. Yeah, you see how it changes now?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what it does. But without it, then it wouldn't change it.
Oh, I see.
You remember?
Yeah.
Cool. All right.
And so also I have another quick question. Like for if I want to use static table view, yeah. So I did use static table view. So the whole thing has to be a table view controller, right? If I want to use like the static table view,
Yeah, it has to be a static table view.
then like the whole page has to be a table, right?
Mhm.
I cannot like I drag it to a view controller and then like what and then drag a view.
You could do that, yeah. What you do is you make the, for example, let's say that you want, this is a whole table view. Is this also a table view?
Yeah.
Holy crap.
So
Here. So for example, let's say that you want this and you want the table view. You can put it underneath. Let me show you.
because I want to, it will be possible if I want something like the upper side is just like flex. It has
Yeah.
a cover.
This is like
photo,
like cover photo.
and also an image that a cover image and a profile image, and then at the bottom I want it to be a static table view.
I see what you mean. So this is what you mean, right?
So embed it inside view.
You do something like that. You can get the table view.
I'm not sure if this one can do the static one or it can only do the dynamic one.
What do you mean?
For the UI table view, can it do
You can have a static table view. Yeah.
static?
Yeah.
Isn't it like for the static table view has to be in the table view controller? Like no?
No.
Like if I want to, how can I this one how to set it? This one? Like this?
Oh. You want to have both?
Yeah, the thing is like actually my original goal was one like the cover photo right here and also the profile picture right here, and then underneath other settings that made by static table cells. So right now like I Google it and I only found this
This
like
is how you would do it. You create a view. This is like the cover photo. Oops. Username. About. Right?
this.
This is a view. This is nothing's gonna happen to this
Oh,
right here. And then you can put all your items here, your settings. In this cell.
Okay.
Yeah. So here you put like there you go, setting number 1. Is tutor or like tutor mode, something like that. And you can have like a switch. Right? Something like that.
Yeah.
And you can make them bigger too if you want. Like that, right? And you can keep customizing it. And this is a table view. Right here, this is your table view. This part.
Underneath.
Yeah.
Okay.
And here is your static content.
Oh, I see.
This is not going to be part of the table view.
Oh,
So whatever is happening here, let me show you an example.
for this one, I believe what WeChat does is actually they make everything the table view. Right?
They make everything in the table view?
Yeah.
Oh, then you can do that too.
Isn't it how they make it?
Yeah, it looks like it.
They made everything is a table view controller.
Yeah, because it's way easier.
So this still is considered a good user experience.
WeChat is really good. Yeah, because this is all. This is iOS.
How to make something like this? Like a drop down, a little drop down on the upper
A
corner.
drop down?
Yeah.
I don't know. I've never done that.
Isn't it something fancy?
Oh, you create a view.
It would be really helpful if I
You
can
do it programmatically.
like it hides like when I don't need it.
So and this is what I meant. So this is the static,
Static.
right? This is a static, and this is a table view. Static, table view.
But this in HTML, right?
Yeah. But I'm showing you an example. Static, right here.
Yeah.
Table view.
This is in JavaScript.
Yeah, it's JavaScript.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you see what I mean?
Yeah.
How this is static, this doesn't change, and this is a table view. Yeah. For that, I showed how to do it on the there's a way you can create you can learn it here.
Drop down menu.
Yeah.
Bootstrap version.
This in Swift 4. But yeah, first you gotta create your buttons.
It made it like a bootstrap.
Yeah. So he creates a button, right?
Yeah.
You log in, turn it on. So here's your button.
Yeah.
Same as here. You created the button.
But
You create a collection.
collection.
Yeah.
Collection is mean that the flex collection view.
It's a group of buttons.
Group of them.
Here's a group of buttons.
Yeah.
It's a button that has a collection of buttons.
Oh,
That's what he's doing here. And you create an animation to show it, to make it look nice. You see that?
also this little plus sign is actually a little button.
It is a button, yeah.
And then so it expands,
It expands.
but it doesn't go to the full screen. This one is the full width. This is not. And then it adds a little bit of animation.
Yeah, they add animation to disappear.
I see.
We learn animations today. If you wanted to, you can check out the lecture. Let me go with the recording. Crap.
I will take a look.